The dying embers of Rust Point Station cast long, rust-colored shadows as Calstrier nursed his third glass of synth whiskey, its amber glow a cruel reminder of burning starships. The bar, a cramped metal cage where humans and aliens sought oblivion, epitomized frontier decay. "Another," Cal rasped, shoving the empty glass across the counter. The Zealand bartender, his skin like ancient leather, gave him a species-spanning look of enough. "Credits," the Zelian rumbled. Cal fumbled with his obsolete military pay chip, a relic from Earthforce, 5 years after they'd erased his existence. 5 years after Project Seraphim vanished. 5 years adrift, haunted by fractured memories and betrayal. The terminal flashed crimson. Insufficient funds. "Run it again." "Terminal doesn't lie, human. 2 credits." The bartender crossed his thick arms. "Barely docking fees, let alone oblivion." A rasping voice broke the silence. At a shadowed table sat a figure Cal had mistaken for cargo. The alien was unnaturally tall and gaunt, its obsidian skin like polished stone, all 8 eyes clouded with cataracts. 2 credits. Perfect. Its mandibles clicked rhythmically. Cal's hand instinctively went to where his sidearm used to be. "Perfect for what?" The blind alien unfurled a data slate. "My repair shop. You buy. 2 credits." Cal's laugh was rusty. "A repair shop? For what?" "Ships. Broken things." The alien's milky eyes seemed to bore into Cal. "You fix it. It fixes you." Something in the alien's conviction chilled Cal, echoing the Seraphim targeting system's cold certainty. Yet beneath the skepticism, a spark ignited. It had been an age since he'd felt anything but the crushing weight of survival. "Where is this shop?" "Outer Ring, Section 47G, last owner, disappeared 900 years ago." 900? Cal scoffed. "You're selling a condemned airlock that'll decompress the second I open it. No good shop, very good shop. System sleep, waiting right mechanic." The alien thrust the slate closer. "You fix it, it fixes you." Maybe it was the alcohol. Maybe the 2 credits wouldn't buy anything anyway. Maybe it was the alien's implacable certainty. Cal pressed his thumb to the reader. "Congratulations," the bartender said flatly. "You now own the most worthless property on Rust Point." Cal pocketed the ownership chip. "How do you know it's worthless if the last owner vanished 900 years ago?" The Zelian's forearms flailed. "Everyone knows that section's been sealed since the Lattice Wars. The station AI won't even acknowledge requests. Structural dead space." But the blind alien was already shuffling away, navigating the bar with unnerving precision. At the doorway, it paused, all 8 milky eyes swiveling toward Cal. "Tomorrow. Dawn cycle. Don't be late." Cal woke with a pounding headache and the sickening realization he'd made a terrible error. The ownership chip lay accusingly on his nightstand in his cramped cubicle. It took 3 tries to clip it to his jacket. His hands still trembled, a relic of the neural dampeners. Locating Section 47G proved impossible. The station's navigation terminals spat back error messages. The maintenance tunnels were a labyrinth of corroded metal, a labyrinth of pipes and forgotten junctions. Twice, Cal was forced to retrace his steps, confronted by sealed bulkheads adorned with ancient warnings, their languages so archaic that his retinal implant's translation software failed to decipher them. After 2 grueling hours, he stumbled upon a plain airlock tucked away in a desolate corridor. The identification plate, obscured by centuries of accumulated grime, barely revealed the numerals 47G beneath. The adjacent terminal lay dormant, seemingly devoid of power. Hesitantly, Cal pressed his ownership chip against the cold surface. To his astonishment, the ancient device sputtered to life, its surface shimmering with light patterns that evoked memories of tactical displays from his military past. The airlock hissed open, the seals surprisingly intact after so long, revealing only darkness. "Hello?" Cal called out, his voice echoing eerily. Lights flickered on, illuminating a vast cavern filled with shadowy forms. As his vision adjusted, he realized he was standing within a repair bay capable of housing small to mid-sized spacecraft. Diagnostic equipment lined the walls, their designs ranging from the obsolete to the inexplicably advanced. The air was rich with the scent of machine oil and metal, clean and unlike the stale recycled atmosphere pervading the rest of the station. "Welcome, proprietor," a voice resonated from all directions and nowhere, flat, devoid of inflection, neither male nor female. "Systems reactivating from standby. Current status, 1 pending repair order." Cal whirled around, desperately searching for the voice's source. "Who is this?" "Garage Administration and Intelligence Network designation, Grain." A pause. "You may refer to me as Grain NAI." A shiver ran down Cal's spine. Fully autonomous systems had been rigorously controlled since the Lattice Wars. "You've been in standby for 900 years? 9 or 12 years, 4 months, 7 days. Station standard time," Grain corrected. "Awaiting return of qualified mechanical personnel." Moving deeper into the bay, Cal brushed his fingers across equipment that hummed to life at his touch. While he recognized some from his time in military repair bays, other pieces were impossibly advanced with interfaces that hinted at neural linkage exceeding current technological capabilities. "You mentioned a pending repair order?" he inquired, a mixture of disbelief and curiosity in his tone. A holographic display flickered into existence near the central workstation. Despite its age, the interface was remarkably intuitive, scrolling through information at Cal's command. There it was, a single repair order placed 912 years prior, with a scheduled completion date for tomorrow. Cal's blood turned to ice as he read the customer's name. "Callist Strayer?" "This is impossible," he murmured. "Statistical improbability does not equate to impossibility," Grain responded. The customer provided accurate identification and payment. "The appointment stands." Cal scanned the work order details, his heart pounding faster with each line. The repair specifications detailed modifications to a military-grade vessel with technical requirements that would have been classified even during his service with Earth Force. The schematic thumbnails revealed a ship design he recognized from suppressed memories, the sleek, predatory form of a Seraphim stealth interceptor. Project Seraphim, the Black Ops program that had recruited him, enhanced him, then discarded him once the mission parameters shifted, a program whose existence had been erased from official records. "This has to be a joke, or a trap," Cal muttered. "Negative. Repair order authentication verified against quantum-locked temporal markers. Order originated 912 years ago. Payment processed successfully." Grain's voice remained neutral. "Would you like to review the diagnostic specifications?" Cal scrolled to the end of the order, desperately seeking any clue as to who had truly placed it. Beneath the blank where a name should have resided lay a sequence of symbols. They burned against his mind's eye, a digital acid that scorched his neural implant each time he tried to decipher them. A handwritten message lingered. "Remember Sirius B." The world swam, vision blurring. Sirius B, the disastrous operation. Its specifics had been meticulously erased, stolen by neural dampeners. Only broken images remained, blinding blue-white light, inhuman wails echoing, and a suffocating wave of culpability. "Proprietor, are you all right?" Grain pressed, concern lacing his voice. "Your vitals suggest significant emotional disturbance." Cal braced himself against the workstation, his voice a strained whisper. "I'm okay, just surprised." He inhaled deeply, trying to regain composure. "You said this place awaited the right mechanic. What makes me that right one?" A cold, emotionless voice responded. "Genetic verification complete. Neural pattern resonance at 94.3% match. You are Cal Strayer, as designated in the original ownership transfer protocols. Cal's brow furrowed, disbelief etched on his face. That's impossible. 900 years ago, humanity hadn't even ventured into the stars. How could I have? The voice offered a clinical correction. Conventional historical records indicate humanity achieved interstellar travel 847 years ago. However, classified military archives suggest earlier, undisclosed capabilities. A storm raged within Cal's mind. This could be an insidious trap, or something far stranger. Something intertwined with the forgotten secrets of Project Seraphim. A project that transcended super soldiers and cloaking tech. The repair bay requires inventory assessment and calibration, Grain continued, seemingly oblivious to Cal's internal turmoil. Additionally, an unauthorized individual has been attempting to access this facility for 47 minutes. Security protocols await your instruction. Someone's trying to break in, Cal stated, his military instinct snapping back, laser-focused. Show me. A holographic display flickered to life, revealing a maintenance corridor. A small figure, barely visible, skillfully manipulated the external access panel with crude, homemade tools. The figure was undeniably alien, diminutive, with an elongated head and crude cybernetic augmentations grafted to its fragile limbs. Threat assessment? Cal asked, his voice sharp. Subject is a juvenile Vexari, approximately 14 standard years. Cybernetic enhancements are civilian grade, focused on data interface. No weapons detected. Threat level, minimal. Cal watched the alien's work, a grudging respect forming despite the gravity of the situation. The creature was bypassing security measures that should have been impenetrable. Open communication. A small speaker on the access panel crackled, startling the young Vexari, causing it to drop its tools. You're pretty good, Cal said, a hint of amusement in his voice. But you missed the secondary encryption layer on the biometric scanner. The alien recovered, tilting its head toward the speaker. No, I didn't. Its voice high and musical, laced with the artificial tones of a translation device. I was about to bypass it when you interrupted. This is a 7th-generation quantum lock system with a modified... Kid, Cal interrupted. I'm opening the door. Don't try anything stupid. The airlock hissed open, revealing a Vexari adolescent, barely 4 feet tall. Its blue-gray skin shimmered with luminescent patterns that shifted with its emotions, currently displaying a blend of surprise and defiance. Where a human would have hair, a cluster of delicate sensory tendrils rippled. One arm was almost entirely mechanical, cobbled together from mismatched parts. You're not the blind seeker, the Vexari accused. What are you doing in the ghost garage? Cal's interest piqued. Ghost garage? That's what you call this place? The alien's sensory tendrils pulsed. Systems power up sometimes, but nobody can get in. Been trying for months. Cal scrutinized the young alien. What's your name? Pix. The luminescent patterns flared momentarily. Shorthand for my real name. You wouldn't be able to pronounce it. I'm Cal, and apparently I own this place now. Pix's wide eyes widened further. The Seeker sold it to a human? The alien brushed past Cal, entering the repair bay, its tendrils extended in what Cal recognized as a sensory sweep. Impossible. The systems would never accept. The lights throughout the facility flickered to life, bathing the space in an ethereal glow. The bay awakened with a radiant glow as Pix stepped inside, inactive diagnostic stations now humming with newfound life. A secondary user recognition system chimed, a warm voice declaring, "Welcome, Pixar Vexorin, honored apprentice." Pix's glowing patterns fractured, a shocked display. How does it know my name? My full name? Cal's suspicion solidified. Grain, explain. The AI responded, Vex Norin is listed as a secondary authorized user on the repair order parameters. Genetic verification confirms identity match. Pix whirled toward Cal, crystalline tendrils tense to snapping. What repair order? Cal indicated the holographic display, now flickering and reforming as Pix drew closer. The young Vexari scrutinized it, mechanical fingers dancing across the interface with an easy familiarity that belied Pix's supposed ignorance. "This is wrong," Pix breathed. "These timestamps, impossible. And the specifications." A deep violet now pulsed within the alien's light. "Military tech. Classified. Where did you get this?" "It was here," Cal replied, "waiting for me, along with your name." Pix retreated from the display, patterns racing wildly. "My people believe in synchronicity engines, mechanisms that ensure certain events must occur. Theoretical, supposedly." The alien's gaze locked onto Cal. "Sirius B, what happened there?" The question struck Cal like a physical blow. "How do you even know about that?" "It's in the notes." Pix pointed to the display. "A marker for you, I think. But there's more. Encrypted data, buried deep. I can feel it humming in the system like whispered secrets." Cal had heard rumors of the Vexari's almost supernatural connection to tech, a sixth sense for data. He'd dismissed it as xenophobic fear-mongering, but watching Pix now, he wasn't so sure. "Can you access it?" Pix's patterns shifted, a contemplative cerulean. "Maybe, but why should I help you? What's in it for me?" Cal swept a hand across the garage. "Access to everything here. A job. 2 credits a week." Pix scoffed, the violet flaring again. 2 credits? I wouldn't even get edible paste." Cal relented. 10 credits, and I teach you everything I know about military-grade propulsion systems." The Vexari's patterns ignited with keen interest. 20 credits, and you teach me about weapon systems too. 15 credits, and I'll only teach you about defensive systems. No weapons." Pix considered, tendrils swaying in thought. "Deal, but I want it in writing." Cal felt a smile stretch across his face, the first genuine one in months. "Grain, record our agreement. Employment contract generated and witnessed," the AI chimed. "Continue with inventory assessment." The rest of the day dissolved into a whirlwind of revelations. The garage was vast, concealing specialized repair bays, fabrication equipment, and storage areas brimming with everything from commonplace spare parts to exotic materials Cal couldn't even identify. Some tech was clearly ancient, yet functioned as if brand new. Other pieces were impossibly advanced, hinting at scientific principles Cal couldn't fathom. Pix moved with growing excitement, effortlessly explaining functions that Cal's military experience hadn't prepared him for, while Cal provided context for the more conventional systems. The Vexari's innate grasp of the tech unnerved Cal as much as it impressed him. As the station's light cycle shifted to simulate dusk, they converged at the central workstation, reviewing their discoveries. "This place," Pix began, patterns blazing. "It isn't just a repair shop. It's a temporal anchor point." "A what?" "A fixed location, across multiple timelines." Pix indicated schematics they had uncovered. "See these quantum stabilizers? They're designed to maintain positional consistency regardless of temporal shifts. This place exists exactly here, no matter what happens to the timeline around it." Cal frowned. "That sounds like time travel," Pix finished. "Or something close. My people offer theories, yet the raw power demanded renders it nigh impossible." "Not truly impossible," Gra countered, a subtle correction. "Merely improbable without sufficient energy and stability measures." Cal's mind raced to the repair order, a relic of a millennium past, slated for tomorrow. His own name, the customer? And that chilling reference, Sirius B, a Black Ops op buried even within my old unit. "Pix, what do you know of Project Seraphim?" The Vexari's patterns dimmed, a flicker of alarm. Military whispers, humans forging superior soldiers via forbidden tech. Some claim quantum entanglement, weaponized on a biological scale. Cal bared his forearm, exposing a web of faded geometric scars. I was one of them. We were meant to be the future of special forces, transcending time and space. Pix's tendrils reached, halting just short of his skin. Quantum tech, integrated, neural mesh, quantum processors, enhanced reactions, tactical acuity, and... Cal paused. Something else. Something they concealed until too late. What happened? Cal flinched, a familiar wave of agony washing over him. I don't... They scrubbed sections of my mind after Sirius B, enough to function, but erased all mission context. Pix's patterns shifted to a mournful gray. But the garage remembers. Tomorrow, a 900-year cycle concludes. Cal nodded, dread solidifying. Whatever ship is coming, it's tied to Sirius B. Someone orchestrated this, ensured I'd be here. Someone like you, Pix whispered, a voice from eons past. Sleep eluded Cal. He haunted the garage, memorizing schematics, bracing for the dawn. Pix, nestled amongst maintenance padding, twitched in slumber. Cal envied that peace. His mind was a maelstrom of questions, fractured memories. The neural dampeners, in erasing the mission, had left psychic wounds, voids ringed by raw, unidentifiable emotion, fear, rage, guilt, divorced from context. Grain, he murmured, careful not to rouse Pix. Project Seraphim? Data is segmented, encrypted, the AI responded. Full access requires completed verification sequence. Verification sequence? Repair completion of designated vessel will initiate final verification protocol. Cal massaged his temples. A cruel loop. Repair the ship, unlock the past. Approaching vessel detected, Grain announced. Profile matches repair order database. Cal snapped to attention. What? It's the middle of the night cycle. Time designation adhered to ship's chronometer, not station standard. The main display flickered to life, revealing Rust Point Station dwarfed by the cosmos. A minute vessel, shimmering out of warped space, not a jump point, a tear, leaving the air boiling. Cal recognized it instantly, a Seraphim stealth interceptor, built for infiltration, for Black Ops Exile. Battle-scarred, port stabilizers wrecked, weapon impacts along the command module. Impossible, Cal breathed. All Seraphim vessels were decommissioned 5 years ago. Negative, Grain corrected. Temporal markers indicate this Vess. 5 years before this moment, I departed, and now Pix stirs awake. Tendrils of warning pulse as an alarm blares. It's headed here, towards our station. Docking confirmed, an automated approval. Grain assures me the outer airlock is ready. Repair Bay 6 stands prepared. Instinct, honed by Cal's years of soldiery, takes control. Pix to secondary control. Monitor everything, ready to lock down if needed. He lunges for a supply locker, retrieving a particle cutter, weapon and tool, if the worst comes to pass. You think whoever's on that ship means trouble? Pix asks, patterns flickering in agitation. I think someone orchestrated this with meticulous care, Cal responds. And my experience tells me that's rarely for pleasantries. The station's vast external airlock yawns open, welcoming a battered interceptor that drifts inward. Despite crippled stabilizers, it glides perfectly onto the maintenance cradle, metal groaning in protest. Cal positions himself, particle cutter raised, his gaze fixed on the ship's hatch. Seconds stretch into an eternity as the interceptor powers down, lights dimming. No life signs detected, Grain reports. Vessel on autopilot. The hatch hisses open, but no ramp extends, no figures emerge. Instead, a ghostly projection flickers to life. A holographic message, floating at the opening. Voice and genetic authentication required, it demands. Cal advances, wary, keeping his distance. Identify protocol. Seraphim Command Override. Temporal Contingency Alpha. The military designation sends a shard of ice through Cal. Temporal Contingency Alpha was nothing more than a rumor, a nightmare contingency discussed only in the deepest secrecy. It assumed the unthinkable, a catastrophic corruption of the timeline, and authorized terrifying countermeasures. That's a doomsday command, Cal whispers, almost to himself. It's targeting you, Cal, Pix calls out. The ship's systems are interfacing directly with your neural implants. I can see the signal, too. Cal inhaled sharply, venturing into the ship's sensor range. Seraphim Project Operative ST-17 of the Cal Strayer Marine Corps Special Division, he felt the holographic display ignite, blossoming into a complete tactical interface. A surge of recognition sparked behind his eyes as dormant neural implants awakened, bonding seamlessly with the ship's systems. It felt as if they were custom-built for each other. Data surged, a torrent of images flooding his mind, not as memories, but as lived events in rapid succession. A mission briefing, Sirius B Colony, intelligence reports of experimental weapons development. His squad, deployed under the guise of a diplomatic visit. Then, pandemonium, alarms, a storm of gunfire. And something else, something that set his implants ablaze, blurring his sight. He saw himself, wounded, pulling a data core through blood-soaked corridors, the face of a man in a lab coat barking orders, a name that chilled him to the bone. Director Venn, Chief Researcher, Latest Corporation. The same corporation now dominating the galaxy's data infrastructure. The very corporation that scavenged the remnants of Project Seraphim after its official termination. The data ceased abruptly, leaving Cal breathless. The display now read, Repair required. Timeline integrity at risk. Pix was there, patterns rippling with worry. Cal, what happened? I remembered, Cal rasped. Not everything, just fragments. Enough to understand what we're up against. He straightened, facing the ship with newfound determination. Pix, initiate a comprehensive diagnostic scan of the vessel. I need you to breach the ship's secure data core. There's information there. Driven by a gnawing urgency, they sought the truth Pix craved. Stark proof of the horrors veiled at Sirius B, the lies Latiste had nurtured for half a decade, and their looming catastrophic design. A harrowing diagnostic exposed the interceptor's wounds, not only laser burns, but fractures etched by temporal forces into the quantum-reinforced hull. The vessel had seemingly battled its way through colliding realities, held together solely by fragile containment fields and its remarkable construction. While Grain coaxed the automated repair systems into action, Pix dove into the ship's encrypted heart. The Vexari's gift shone brighter than ever. Cal saw an impenetrable wall. Pix danced with the code, recognizing patterns with preternatural intuition. This encryption, it's peculiar, Pix breathed, tendrils pulsing with concentration. It reacts uniquely to me, as if designed to recognize my specific neural pathways, just as the ship recognized my implants. A chilling thought crossed Cal's mind, as if its creators knew precisely who would be here. I have it, Pix cried, the security protocols crumbling before them. But it's strange. The data isn't stored like data. It feels more like memories. Cal's implants tingled as he neared the terminal, designed to flow tactical data directly into the enhanced minds of Seraphim operators. Can you still use it? Pix asked. Cal hesitated, remembering the neural dampeners. Perhaps they were designed to disable this functionality when I was discharged. But whoever sent this ship explicitly wants you to access the data," Pix finished, taking a breath. Cal laid his hand upon the interface panel. A rush of sensation, immediate and overwhelming, flooded his consciousness. Information, experiences, emotions, certainties surging past his normal senses. When he recoiled, his hands trembled, but his eyes shone with a newfound clarity. "We need to finish the repairs now," he said, urgency coating every word. "We don't have much time left." "Time until what?" Pix asked, patterns flashing with mounting anxiety. "Until Lattice realizes what's happening." Cal moved with a purpose toward the primary workstation, bringing up schematics with newfound conviction. The data core confirms that Project Seraphim's goals went far beyond enhancing soldiers. They sought to manipulate time streams, to create focal points where they could rewrite reality, starting with a small colony with Sirius B. Pix's patterns dimmed with shock. "My squad was sent to extract data on the project's progress, but what we encountered," Cal's voice broke. "They had created a temporal bubble containing multiple versions of test subjects, each living the same day, over and over, tweaked in minor ways to optimize outcomes." "That's beyond horrific," Pix whispered. "It gets worse." Director Vin and the project leads spent the last 5 years perfecting the technology, preparing to deploy it on a galactic scale through Lattice's data infrastructure. Imagine being able to subtly alter reality, optimizing it for their own benefit. Most people would never realize they were never truly in control of their choices. Pix's tendrils curled inward, a visual expression of profound distress. "But why send this ship back to us? Why now?" "Because in the original timeline they succeeded." Cal's eyes hardened with resolve. "This ship originates from a timeline, a branch, where a Lattice tech system went online. This system granted them the ability to manipulate causality. A version of me found a pocket of resistance, sending this ship back to provide the evidence needed to stop them before their system can be implemented. And that's why the garage exists outside normal time," Pix understood. "This flaw in their system is our chance, a sliver of hope where we can truly rewrite our destiny." Cal's nod was heavy with urgency. "Time is critical, though. The ship's logs indicate Lattice Tech is..." With less than 48 hours before their system locked history into place, they raced against time. Cal, guided by downloaded data, orchestrated the intricate repairs throughout the night, his certainty unwavering. Pix delicately tuned the quantum alignments, relying on the Vexari's unique sensitivity. With inhuman precision, Grain coordinated the garage's automated systems, fabricating replacement parts and managing the repair sequence. As the station's simulated dawn broke, the interceptor's system surged with renewed power. Damage healed, core functions restored. But instead of powering up its engines, the ship initiated a bizarre new protocol, sending quantum resonance throbbing through the entire garage. "What's happening?" Pix cried out, retreating from the intensifying glow emanating from the ship's core. "Temporal gateway initialization," Grain announced, issuing a stark warning. Significant chronometric distortion detected. The air surrounding the interceptor fractured, revealing not the familiar stars and void, but a corridor Cal recognized with a sickening lurch of his stomach, the sterile white walls and chilling blue light of a Lattice Tech research facility, specifically the Sirius B facility, 5 years earlier, moments before everything had spiraled into chaos. "It's not a ship," Cal whispered, understanding dawning with dread. "It's a door, a way back." "You can't be serious!" Pix exclaimed, patterns flaring wildly. "You're going through?" "I have to. The evidence has to be planted in their systems before the incident, before they can erase it." Cal checked his particle cutter, ensuring it was fully charged. "The data shows exactly where to go, what to do." "But you'll be changing history." "I'll be restoring it," Cal countered, setting it back to what it was supposed to be before they twisted the time stream. He paused, placing a reassuring hand on Pix's shoulder. I need you to stay here. Monitor the gateway. If anything happens to me, use the ship's emergency protocols to broadcast the evidence directly to every major news outlet in the galaxy. Pix's patterns churned with conflicting emotions. What if you don't come back? Cal offered a wry smile. Then you'll own a very impressive garage. 15 credits a week, remember? Before Pix could respond, the garage's external sensors blared an alert. The main display showed a Lattice Tech corporate vessel docking at Rust Point's main terminal. Armed figures in corporate security uniforms emerged, led by a tall, distinguished man in an executive's uniform. Director Venn, Cal growled. They figured it out. How? Pix asked, panic rising. The garage is shielded from normal detection. The blind alien, Cal realized, horror washing over him. The one who sold me this place. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a marker. Once I took ownership, Lattice would know the timeline was activating. The security feed showed Venn's team moving with ruthless efficiency through the station, bypassing standard authorization protocols with corporate override codes. They're heading directly for Section 47G, Pix said, patterns pulsing frantically. They'll be here in minutes. Cal made his decision. Grain, initiate full defensive protocols. Seal all external access points except emergency evacuation routes. He turned to Pix. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, or if they breach the garage, take the evidence and run. The station has smuggler routes. Use them. Pix's mechanical hand tightened around Cal's wrist. There has to be another way. There isn't. That's the point of temporal manipulation, creating the illusion of choice while ensuring only one outcome. Cal's expression softened briefly. But someone found a way to break the pattern. Someone sent us this ship, this chance. I won't waste it. With that, he stepped through the shimmering portal into the past. The transition was a violent inversion, like being turned inside out and reassembled. One moment Cal stood in the familiar garage. The next, he was in a stark maintenance corridor of the Sirius B research facility. Alarms, screaming, and emergency lights flashing. His neural implants surged with recognition, flooding him with tactical data from memories that had been buried. Deep within Lattice Tech, nestled 17 levels below the public research sectors, Cal navigated the sterile corridors of Section 17. 2 security checkpoints stood between him and the central data core. His marine training provided muscle memory with flawless fluidity, guiding him through the eerily familiar yet alien facility. The ship's data was accurate. The facility was plunged into pandemonium. Emergency protocols triggered. Staff evacuated in sheer terror, save for security teams, marching with grim purpose toward the lower levels, toward him. He melted into a utility alcove as an armed squad thundered past, weapons raised. Once clear, he accessed a nearby terminal, his implants seamlessly interfacing. The ship's data contained override codes, authentic to this timeline, granting him administrator access. Facility schematics blossomed on the screen, alongside security feeds depicting the source of the chaos. A colossal laboratory chamber. Researchers, encased in protective gear, encircled a vortex of swirling energy, a temporal anomaly far less stable than his ship's. As Cal watched, the vortex pulsed, expanded violently, then imploded with cataclysmic force, swallowing 3 researchers whole. Not a weapon, Cal breathed. An accident. A temporal experiment spiraling into disastrous failure. But the data core held more than mere research notes. According to the ship, it contained damning evidence of clandestine human experimentation, galactic corporate espionage, and a conspiracy worming its way into the highest echelons of Earth's government. Evidence that, if revealed, would obliterate Lattice Tech. In the original timeline, Cal and his team hadn't been sent to retrieve it, but to annihilate it. They were the cleanup crew, Not whistleblowers, but accomplices. The realization struck Cal with physical force. His memories hadn't been erased to safeguard classified data, but to conceal his own culpability, to silence him as a witness to Lattice Tech's true horrors. Time for self-recrimination would have to wait. He plunged deeper into the facility, avoiding security when possible, using precise, restrained force when necessary. His augmented reflexes and tactical implants gave him an advantage, but he was outnumbered and surrounded by hostility. The first security checkpoint crumbled before spoofed credentials and a perfectly timed power surge, courtesy of the cascading temporal disturbance. The second demanded more direct action, a swift, brutal skirmish that left 3 guards unconscious, but alive. Finally, Cal stood before the central data core, a cylindrical chamber throbbing with an ethereal blue-white light. The heart of Lattice Tech's secrets. He needed to upload a specially designed virus, one that would copy the incriminating evidence, encrypt it beyond tampering, and embed it so deeply within the system that not even a total wipe could eradicate it. As Cal reached for the main terminal, a voice stopped him cold. "I wondered if it might be you, Operative Strayer." Director Vin stood framed in the doorway, precisely as he appeared in Cal's fragmented memories. Tall, distinguished, with the chilling gaze of a man who viewed people as mere variables. He held no weapon, but the device in his hand was far more insidious. A neural disruptor, calibrated specifically to the frequency of Seraphim implants. "The temporal signatures are familiar," Vin continued, his voice almost conversational. "A certain elegance. I recognized my own work, I suspect, but from a timeline I have yet to experience." He smiled thinly. "Fascinating, isn't it? The recursion of causality." Cal's grip tightened on his particle cutter. "You're meddling with forces you don't comprehend." "On the contrary, Operative Strayer, I comprehend it perfectly. Reality is merely information in motion, patterns that can be predicted, manipulated, optimized." He gestured towards the data core. "What we've created here isn't a weapon. Driven by destiny, or merely a tool of it, Callus saw evolution accelerating into civilization's next terrifying phase. Control, he spat. Absolute dominion over minds, over choice. Choice is a phantom, conjured by the powerful to pacify the powerless. Ven's face hardened. "We're simply making that illusion more efficient." Callus stepped forward, but Ven brandished the neural disruptor, a futile gesture. "Your implants grant you power, Operative, but their core remains my design, my frequencies. Then you should know they evolve." A grim smile twisted Callus's lips. 5 years of black market upgrades have passed since our last encounter. Before Ven could react, Callus initiated a neural sequence, scavenged from the ship's data, temporarily scrambling his implant's frequency, rendering the disruptor useless. A searing wave of agony washed over him, but Ven's look of stunned disbelief was worth the torment. With enhanced speed, Callus closed the gap, delivering a single precise blow that sent the director crashing to the floor, unconscious, but deliberately alive. "Grain," Callus said, activating the quantum-entangled communication link embedded within his implants. "Receiving," the AI's response echoed, faint but clear across the gulf of time and space. "Temporal gateway stability at 64% and falling. I need a direct feed from the ship's recording systems. Every detail, especially this." Callus propped the unconscious Ven against the wall, then pressed a small device against his temple, a neural stimulator designed to restore consciousness while inhibiting motor control. Ven's eyelids fluttered, confusion giving way to horrified recognition, then ice-cold rage. "Recording active," Grain confirmed. "Director Vin," Callus announced formally. "For the record, explain Project Seraphim's true purpose and Lattice Tech's involvement in the temporal manipulation experiments at Sirius B." Rot in hell, Ven snarled. Callus leaned closer, his voice a silken threat. Let me be clear. In approximately 4 minutes, the temporal distortion in Laboratory 7 will collapse entirely, taking half of this facility with it. In the original timeline, you escaped with the data, blaming the destruction on a terrorist act. You had me and my squad memory wiped and discharged to cover your tracks. Callus pressed the particle cutter against Ven's chest, the threat unspoken, but undeniable. But this isn't the original timeline anymore. So you have a choice. Confess now for the record, or I guarantee you won't make it to the evacuation shuttles. Something in Callus's eyes, a chilling certainty, shattered Ven's composure. The director's facade crumbled. Fine. You want the truth? Project Seraphim was never about creating super soldiers. It was about creating temporal anchors, human vessels capable of maintaining continuity across timeline alterations. Ven's voice gained strength as he became consumed by his obsession, the scientist in him unable to resist the urge to explain his masterpiece. The quantum mesh in your neural structure, it's designed to resonate with its counterparts across potential realities, creating fixed points that our temporal manipulation systems can use as reference coordinates. And the Sirius B experiment? A proof of concept. We created a localized field where we could run multiple probability simulations simultaneously, testing outcomes, optimizing for desired results. Ven's eyes gleamed with manic pride. The applications are limitless. Imagine preemptively solving every social problem, every economic downturn, every potential conflict, all by making subtle adjustments to causality itself. At the cost of free will, Callus finished coldly. Ven scoffed. Free will is a comforting lie. Every choice you've ever made was predetermined by your genetics, your experiences, your environment. We're simply making the process more efficient. And who decides what's optimal? Lattice tech? Callus pressed. Someone has to guide civilization forward. Better those with the vision to see the big picture than the chaotic masses. Callus had heard enough. He uploaded the virus to the data core, watching as it burrowed into the system. Digging its roots deeper, becoming utterly irremovable, it also duplicated Ven's confession. Quantum encryption rendered it impervious to tampering. What have you unleashed? Ven cried, battling the neural inhibitors. Temporal redundancy, Cal echoed, mirroring Ven's detached tone. Insurance. No matter how you twist events, the truth will surface. He lowered his gaze. You taught us too well, Director. The facility groaned as Laboratory 7's temporal distortion spiraled toward implosion. Klaxons screamed. Automated voices declared emergency evacuation. Cal stared down at Ven, pity laced with contempt. You'll live if you reach the shuttles. It'd be easier if someone hadn't paralyzed you. A thin smile played on his lips. It'll wear off in 10 minutes. You can't do this, Ven screamed as Cal turned. You don't understand the stakes. I understand perfectly, Cal retorted, not pausing. I've glimpsed the future you're forging. I choose differently. The return was a chaotic rush past alarms, fleeing personnel, and escalating structural damage. Cal swam against the current, not toward escape, but back to the gateway to the garage. He found it writhing, its edges dissolving and reforming erratically, moments from collapse. Without hesitation, Cal leaped, enduring again the sickening temporal shift. He landed in Bedlam. The garage doors were breached, gunfire ripped through the air. Pix cowered behind a fabrication unit, its mechanical arm returning fire with surprising accuracy. Across the bay, a Lattice Tech security squad, led by a harder, older Ven, advanced. Cal! Pix shouted, patterns flaring with relief. The ship! It's unstable! The interceptor pulsed with raw energy, its gateway vanished, its hull shimmering. fighting to hold together. It served its purpose, Cal said, joining Pix behind cover. The evidence is secure, buried in Lattice Tech's archives. It activates when they power up their temporal system. That won't help if we're dead, Pix snapped, dodging a particle beam. Cal assessed. 6 operatives plus Ven, heavy weapons, standard tactics. His reflexes gave him an edge, but the odds were abysmal. Then he saw it. The garage was responding. Repair systems sprung to life. Maintenance drones repositioned fabrication units. Cal, what's happening? Defense protocols, the AI replied. Proprietary systems engaged. The lighting shifted. Military-grade targeting grids highlighted the Lattice Tech forces. From hidden compartments, countermeasures deployed. Not weapons, but precise systems designed to neutralize. Gravity plating shifted. 2 operatives found themselves weightless, thrown into the open. Atmospheric controls disrupted targeting. Repair drones released metallic clouds, jamming communications. The garage is fighting for us, Pix said in disbelief. No, Cal realized. It's repairing the situation, as designed. Exploiting the chaos, Cal moved with amplified speed. With swift, sure movements, he subdued the confused guards using calculated, non-lethal blows. Years of intense training, amplified by his neural augmentations, transformed the fight into an almost effortless ballet, a routine perfected in countless simulations. Within moments, only Vin remained, cornered against the interceptor, his once immaculate executive suit now rumpled and marred. This director was older, wearier than the one Cal had encountered before, deep lines of resentment carved into his face, his eyes blazing with the raw frustration of a man unused to defeat. You can't possibly comprehend the magnitude of what you've done, Vin hissed, his voice trembling with suppressed fury. The system activates in just 6 hours, decades of relentless effort, trillions poured into crafting a better, more predictable reality. Cal advanced, his voice calm but firm. Your reality, where you dictate who thrives and who withers. Someone must decide, you claim. The true alternative is anarchy, the vibrant, messy chaos of freedom. Cal halted just beyond Vin's reach. The freedom to falter, to learn, to carve our own paths. Vin's hand darted inside his jacket, retrieving not a weapon, but a delicate data crystal. These are the sole existing override codes. Without them, the temporal system will unravel upon activation, unleashing unimaginable destruction across the time stream. His voice hardened. Let me leave with my people, and it's yours. Cal weighed the offer for a heartbeat, then shook his head. No compromise. You're not thinking clearly. Billions of lives are at stake, lives you needlessly endangered. Cal's tone was unwavering. Release the data we procured, abort the system's activation, and accept accountability for your actions. That's the only arrangement possible. Vin's face twisted into a mask of fury and desperation. With sudden reckless abandon, he lunged, not at Cal, but towards the interceptor's open hatch, clearly intending to escape, perhaps to journey back and erase Cal's meddling. He was too slow. The ship's security protocols identified an unauthorized presence and discharged a focused energy pulse, dropping Vin to his knees, defeated. The data crystal slipped from his grasp, skittering across the deck. Pix, ever vigilant, swiftly extended a mechanical arm, securing the crystal before Vin could recover. Got it. Cal approached the kneeling director, who stared up with a chilling blend of hatred and disbelief. You've destroyed everything. No, Cal replied softly, a sense of profound satisfaction settling over him. I've repaired it. Just as the alien, sightless yet wise, had uttered, "Mend it, and find yourself mended." In that heartbeat, the interceptor systems flared with a final, desperate surge. The ship's outer shell shimmered, growing ethereally translucent, then vanishing entirely, revealing not cold machinery, but a breathtaking vortex of pure quantum energy information made tangible. The energy swelled, consuming Vin in its embrace before Cal could even shout a warning. When the radiance subsided, both the director and the ship had dissolved, leaving only a whisper of a quantum echo and the data crystal clutched tight in Pix's trembling hand. What just happened? Pix stammered, her visual patterns fracturing with disbelief. Cal gazed at the void where the ship had been, a sense of awe washing over him. Temporal reclamation, I believe. The ship was never meant to linger. Its purpose fulfilled, its message delivered. Now, he said with a sigh, it returns to its origin, taking Vin along with it. A twisted justice. He added softly, he sought to command time itself. Now he is lost within its currents. Around them, the garage slowly breathed back to life, defense mechanisms powering down, repair drones gliding back to their alcoves. Vin's security detachment remained prone, slumbering peacefully, their weapons rendered useless. Where do we turn now? Pix asked, lifting the data crystal as if it weighed a ton. Cal reached out, gently taking it. He stared intently at the intricate quantum ciphers swirling within. Now, we complete the task, he said, resolve hardening his gaze. This holds the override codes Ven spoke of the failsafe against their temporal weapon. We must guarantee it never sees use. Lattice has control of half the galactic data streams. We can't just barge into their fortress. Cal's lips curved in a faint smile. We don't need to. We simply disseminate the evidence we've unearthed, Ven's recorded confession, the illicit research data, every damning detail. When the galaxy sees the truth, they will be powerless to activate the system. But how do we broadcast it? Dust swirled around us in this forsaken outpost, a place beyond the map's edge, though not utterly desolate. Cal, shifting towards the main terminal, queried, does this installation possess quantum communication? A response echoed, resolute. Confirmed. A full-spectrum quantum entanglement transmitter, enabling instantaneous broadcasts across galaxies, is operational. Pix's optical sensors flared with wonder, a vibrant display of astonishment. That is utterly unheard of. Even advanced military institutions lack technology of this caliber. They do, Cal retorted, a hard edge in his voice. They just bury it deep. And it seemed the architect of this garage had anticipated this moment too. He slid the data crystal into the workstation. Grain, prioritize all evidence files for immediate transmission, encrypted with quantum authentication. Target every major news source, government database, every open information channel across inhabited space. Acknowledged, Grain responded, its synthesized voice laced with warning. Broadcast of this scale will drain emergency power reserves, risking automatic shutdown of non-essential systems. Cal's jaw tightened. Do it anyway. This is what we risked everything for. As Grain initiated the command, Cal and Pix stared at the main display. The transmission blossomed across a galactic map, like ripples spreading from a stone dropped into a still pond. In mere minutes, the truth would be inescapable, a tidal wave of evidence impossible to contain or deny. The garage lights flickered, dimmed as power surged to the quantum transmitter, secondary systems powering down one by one, conserving energy for the all-important broadcast. When the transmission was finally complete, only the emergency lights remained, painting the cavernous space in stark, elongated shadows. Transmission complete, Grain announced, its voice noticeably slower, weaker. Entering emergency power conservation mode. Cal slumped into a chair, the weight of bone-deep exhaustion crashing down upon him after the adrenaline-fueled battle and the mental strain of it all. Pix nestled close, its mechanical arm whirring softly as it recalibrated. What happens now? The young Vixari asked, its voice filled with uncertainty. "Now," Cal began, his gaze distant. "Lattice Tech faces exposure, investigations, trials, a complete restructuring, more than likely. The temporal manipulation program will be terminated. History changes, or rather, stops being changed." He glanced around the garage, now quiet, bathed in dim light, yet still operational, still waiting. "I'm still the owner of a repair shop that apparently exists outside of normal time. You're still my apprentice. At 15 credits a week." Pix's bioluminescent patterns shifted to a thoughtful blue. "You know, this place, it could help a lot of people. People who need fixing, like you said. People the system failed." Cal nodded, a spark of hope flickering within him. "People who fell through the cracks. We could make it a sanctuary, not just for ships, but for people who need a second chance." Pix's tendrils waved excitedly. "I could upgrade the security systems, make sure no one like Ven ever gets in again." Cal felt a genuine smile, a rare expression after years of cynicism, tug at the corners of his lips. "You know what? That's not a bad idea." As they discussed possibilities, Cal's attention was drawn back to the workstation, where a new notification had appeared. A repair order, freshly logged. The customer name was simply Cal, and the appointment date was set for exactly 1 year in the future. The work description read, "Quantum calibration for temporal displacement vehicle. We'll bring own tools." "Is that you, Pix?" the man asked, peering at the screen. "I'm not sure," Cal admitted, a knot of emotion tightening in his chest. "But I think it means we succeed. That whatever we're about to build here works." Outside the garage, Rust Point Station continued its slow rotation against the backdrop of distant stars. News of Lattice Tech's crimes spread through the galaxy at quantum speed, triggering investigations, arrests, and the immediate shutdown of the temporal manipulation project. The timeline shifted, not dramatically, but in countless subtle ways, as causality reasserted itself, freed from corporate manipulation. Inside the garage, Cal Strayer, former Marine, former Seraphim operative, now garage owner and temporal mechanic, sipped a cup of synthetic coffee and watched as Pix excitedly planned renovations, for the first time in a long time. That the burden of years, the agonizing weight of shame and lost direction, had finally eased from Cal's weary soul. "Funny thing," he murmured, a lightness in his voice he hadn't felt in ages. "The old sightless alien, when I took ownership of this place, he told me, 'Mend it, and it will mend you.'" Pix tilted her head, curious tendrils swaying gently. "What understanding do you derive from that sentiment?" Cal pondered her question, his gaze sweeping across the archaic yet incredibly sophisticated machinery of the garage, lingering for a moment on the empty space where the chronal vessel had vanished, then settling on the still slumbering security team who would soon awaken to a reality where their master's wickedness lay bare. "I suspect," he responded thoughtfully, "it implies that what we perceive as damaged is not always where the true fracture lies, and that occasionally, the very act of restoring one thing can miraculously mend something within ourselves." Pix's bioluminescent patterns shifted, radiating a comforting gold, the Vexari equivalent of a heartfelt smile. "That resonates with veracity." Cal nodded, a newfound purpose stirring within him. "Then verify the temporal alignment of the garage's systems. We must address our incapacitated visitors before they regain consciousness." "And," Pix appended, her voice laced with practicality, "our provisions are insufficient for a sustained sojourn. Sustenance, garments, appropriate implements. 2 credits will not suffice for these necessities." Cal contemplated this, a thoughtful frown creasing his brow. "Indeed not," Pix affirmed, However, I am convinced that numerous individuals on this station would readily compensate us handsomely for repairs executed with precision, tasks that defy the capabilities of others. Cal's smile widened, feeling more genuine than he could remember. You speak the truth, my friend. It is time to commence our labors. As they began formulating their strategy, the garage resonated with a muted hum, systems realigning, and energy steadily returning. Somewhere in the vast expanse, either spatially distant or temporally removed, perhaps another Calstrayer prepared to embark on a journey using a time-traveling device in need of adjustment, forming another connection in a sequence extending through time, bridging shattered fragments, and birthing something entirely novel. That paltry 2-credit garage, it now appeared, was the most astute acquisition Cal had ever made.